the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Presents the Rory Price Sprint Show, the ultimate NSRA wing sprint car race in the Western United States. See drivers from the West Coast and Canada compete for the coveted RP crown. Local sprints include Granite Super Sprint, West Coast Sprint, Washington Midget, Figure 8 Race, and more. It's one of the biggest nights of the year. The annual Rory Price Wing Sprint Show, Saturday, August 3rd. Kids 10 and under, free. Military, always free. Details, evergreenspeedway.com.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Turn 3 Racing Network, as tonight we're here at Lanier Speedway for the Rory Price Memorial Last Chance Qualifier, and the 305s have been out on track for some practice laps as we get ready to kick over into qualifying. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is KR Stolfus, and on the mic with me as well is none other than Kyler Hope, directly from Evergreen Speedway. Kyler, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful weather out here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm excited to get some iRacing action on track. It's a great event. It's a great family to be a part of. The Rory Price is a great story. I'll get more into that later in the broadcast, but it is going to be a great night of racing.
Well, we all are excited for this. Tonight is the Last Chance Qualifier, the Rory Price Memorial, kicking off next Friday right here on Turn 3 Racing Network, and then it actually carries over into Evergreen Speedway the following Saturday. So that is a very cool little tie-in, little tidbit here. But qualifying starting to get underway, and Kyler, these drivers have got to lay down a good lap. As we have said, this is the Last Chance Qualifier.
Yes, indeed. So this is going to be a very stacked field. We got great drivers from 11 different states and provinces. Victoria and Alberta being represented up north from Canada. We got Tennessee, Brighton, Colorado, even one hometowner from up here in Washington. So it's a very strong field. You're going to want to get a fast time down and start up front.
So this is a first for me, seeing the 305s on pavement here at Lanier. Normally I call a sprint car race, and this track is covered in dirt, but that is the beauty of iRacing. This track is both dirt and asphalt in iRacing, so tonight is going to be a night full of firsts for me.
And this is my first broadcast for iRacing. First time really being introduced to the iRacing system, so it's definitely a first for me as well.
Very exciting. Now we're starting to see drivers roll around on the pit lane heading to the track. We are going to see single car qualifying, but we are going to get a chance to watch each car qualify. So I'm excited about that. They start to roll around. Kyler, what can you tell us about these cars that are lining up right now?
Looks like we got Thomas O'Hara in the 88 lining up first. Thomas, I'm trying to check my notes here. He's actually a regular fan up at Evergreen Speedway, has been going to the track since the 70s. So great having the local P&W represented early on here in this qualifying order.
Thomas O'Hara in the 88 machine. First one, as you said, looks like lining up, but a few other drivers still making their way around. 99 machine being piloted by Richard Orr. Got Narrative Coffee on the side. Now we're just waiting for the track officials to release them. While we wait, I can tell you, driving this track on asphalt is very bottom dependent. I feel we're going to see these guys using that yellow line and maybe even a little bit below it through the corners. Not a whole lot of action up along the wall here at Lanier when it's asphalt. That's a different story when it's dirt.
Yeah, asphalt racing is a whole different story, and especially with our sprint cars up here at Evergreen, as we see the 88 of O'Hara rolling right now. But the Evergreen Sprint Car Series, they hug that bottom and fly around it. But when there's a lot of traffic in the way, you got to get creative. And I'm sure we'll see cars bouncing all around from the bottom to the middle to the top all night long.
88 right now on his first qualifying lap. He is going to set a time of 13.362. Working his second lap here, right down along that yellow line, up along the wall, down the straightaway, and his second lap, a little bit slower, 13.406.
So O'Hara, they're flirting with that 13.361 range right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see some cars get down to the 12.7, 12.8 range, as that is about similar to what we run here at Evergreen, surprisingly enough. So it looks like, is Steven Maestro rolling next?
Lyle Christensen in the 52 out on track. Little wiggle coming to the green flag there for Lyle.
Lyle is out of Lehi, Utah. He's got vans off the wall on the top of that wing as he runs a 13.497 his first lap.
Right now, Lyle still a little shaky coming off the corner. That's going to affect his time to the start-finish line. But he does go faster on his second lap, a 13.397. Still not good enough to take over the top spot, but a much improved second lap.
As it looks like Rob Slider and the 8 machine is now on track. Rob's got a couple sponsors he wants to shout out. Rob is from Holland, Michigan. Got Barber Ford, Used Cars of Holland, and BK Paints, all represent his real-life machine is what I was told, as well as his iRacing machine.
Rob out there right now, third quickest with a 13.534. His opening lap, good enough for third as the third car to qualify. Big wiggle tagging the wall. That lap is not going to be counted in qualifying as he hit the wall before he got across the start finish line. So he will be strapped with a 13.534.
Yeah, you saw him get all sorts of sideways coming off of turn 4 there, and that's similar to how Evergreen runs. And you got to be holding that throttle, and you're going to be wiggling that tail out if your car's set up just right.
Jason Day in the 51. Next one out on the track. This is our fourth car to qualify. Day on the clock. A little bit of sideways action there through 1 and 2. That really is going to slow him down some. This is his opening lap. Got to get the tires up to temp, and now he's got a big slide.
Tough break for Jason, as if you look at our practice times, he ran a 12.9. That was the fastest practice time we saw. A little bit slower times in some other sessions we see, but go back to that replay, and he's sliding it off at turn number 4 and sends it sideways.
Now we wait for Jason Day maybe to get another shot at a lap here. No one out on track currently. Have 4 cars sitting in the staging area waiting for the go-ahead. And now Stephen Chun in the 9 machine rolls out on track.
Steven in the 9 machine out of Tennessee. So Spring Hill, Tennessee, getting represented. He's got Hoosier painted all over that car. Great looking car. Sideways coming to get the green flag. Or sorry, off of turn 2. A little bit sideways there.
Big slide off of 4, really trying to throw the power down. That 9 machine digging hard through the corner. Will be our 5th car to qualify. Keeps it off the wall that time, a 13.649 down to a 13.499, good enough for third. Mike Oakley in the 13 machine. He is out on track now. A lot of these drivers struggling coming up off the corners. Looks like a good solid push going into the corner. So I expect these guys are pushing into entry and then the car is snapping loose on them on exit. Really seems to be making it a handful to drive.
Yeah, these cars certainly are a handful. That's just kind of how you got to get your car set up right. One of the fastest guys up here in the Pacific Northwest, Aaron Wilson, he drives his asphalt sprint car a lot like a regular dirt sprint car, has the tail hanging out, sliding it. As you see, Mike Oakley jumps up to the top spot with a 13.305 as he was sliding his tires off of turn number 4. So maybe that loose is fast setup is the way to go here at Lanier.
Next one out on track, the 15 of Mike Henry. Henry ready to get rolling here in this last chance qualifier. We got to lay down this qualifying session and we'll bring you some great racing action as Henry having a little bit of connection issue there. Get caught back up with him. He is sideways coming off the corner.
And he'll jump up to the top spot with a 13.293. Henry, one of the only driver out of Florida in the field tonight.
Second lap, not as fast as the first at 13.293. Gonna hold for Henry. Good enough for second place. Mark Brimkamp qualified as well in the 78 machine. He jumped to the top spot. And now the 14 of Colin Penn is out on track.
Colin is actually one of the drivers that helped set up this series and get these asphalt sprint cars set up just right. So expect him to be fast tonight. Colin Penn in that 14 car out of Ohio.
Penn down on the bottom there. Very smooth through the corner. We'll see if this works well for him. For the moment, he is on top of the speed chart with a 13.196. And that is going to change to a 13.083. So he goes faster on his second lap, flirting with that 12-second bracket.
Yeah, that's bottom line is just going to be the way to go, it looks like. It'll be interesting to see if we get anyone that's going to be more aggressive and run that middle to low line and see if they can get any momentum around this track.
Wally Beatty out on track now in the 75. He's got the green flag here down in the corner. He goes washing up a little bit through the corner. Not stepping the tail end out there just yet. What can you tell us about Wally?
Well, he's got a beautiful looking race car. I gotta love that paint scheme with Javelin on it. He is one of 2 drivers out of Dallas, Texas. So we have a pretty spread out field, but we got 2 drivers based out of Texas, and he's gonna jump up to the second spot with a 13.108. So Wally Beatty puts down a great time, hugging that bottom line, keeping the car under control. Nice and smooth laps right there for Wally.
Next one out on track is the 54 Steeman Mastro. Steeman in that yellow and black machine, very brightly colored. Trying to roll around the high side there a little bit.
Yeah, he looks like he's maybe just trying to pick up some momentum, trying to run just gain some speed and run some fast laps here. He's representing the Northeast. He's from New York.
Even in that 54, first lap of a 13.395 puts him in 7th, trying to improve this time around. Little sideways action there, keeps it in check though. Across the line he goes, and he will not improve his lap time. He will stay with that 13.395, good enough for 7th place.
Yeah, Steven was quite sideways on that second lap, coming off at turn 2 and again off at turn 4. So we'll see who's rolling out next.
Jason Day in the 51 getting another shot at a qualifying time here. We'll see if he gets to do 2 laps or 1. Don't know if they counted his first attempt as a full qualifying attempt. But Jason Day, big wiggle there in the middle of the corner.
Again, the 51 just having issues. Jason Day, he was fast in practice, putting down a lot of consistent laps, but now seems to be struggling when it comes to qualifying. It's just interesting. Jason, one of the drivers from up north, he's from Victoria.
13.916, trying to beat it. Across the line he goes, and he is going to do that by over half a second with a 13.335, put him in 6th place.
So he was definitely going to be one to keep an eye on. Jason Day in that 51, he was fast all throughout a practice, but just couldn't find a rhythm, which like in qualifying is. Now we have Tyler Reed rolling out in the all white number 58.
At 58, saved a lot of money by not having any colors on it. Very sharp contrast to the rest of the field. I like the way it looks. A bit of sideways through 1 and 2 on his opening lap here, looking a little straighter through 3 and 4. See what kind of lap time he lays down here. A 13.349 for his first lap. Good enough for 7th place. Gonna try and improve this time.
Yeah, Tyler Reed's the other driver out of Dallas as he rolls off at turn number 4. Let's see what he gets. Was he able to improve at all? And he does. Jumps way up there all the way to 2nd position with a 13.095. Great lap for Tyler Reed in that all white number 58.
So far, I'm not seeing anyone else try to roll out on the track just yet.
I'm getting rumors that we might have one more driver entering the field late here. Ellie Musgrave. Yep, there she is in that number 16 pink machine rolling out now. She's actually a local mini stock driver here at Evergreen Speedway. So I guess I'm going to be a little bit biased saying I'm rooting for her in that pink number 16 machine, as she is a local up here at Evergreen Speedway.
Well, we won't hold that bias against you. Always cool getting to see a local driver and participate in an event that you don't normally get to be at either.
Yeah, exactly. And I know she is quite the wheel woman. She's one of our younger drivers, one of our younger stars at Evergreen Speedway. So it's going to be great seeing what she can do here against some of the best in the iRacing League.
A little bit of sliding action there through 1 and 2, gets it back under control through 3 and 4, up along the wall, across the line, and her first lap is a 13.915, and tags the wall hard that time down the straightaway. She will be stuck with that 13.915, good enough for 13th place. Well, Kyler, that I think is everyone for qualifying here tonight. I'm not 100% sure if Richard Orr is out there to turn a lap or not, but he has been sitting on pit road in a car looking like might want to try and turn a lap. I wouldn't blame him. I want to be out there.
I believe he is not going to turn a lap. I think I'm getting that shake from him. No. Nope, he is not. So that will conclude qualifying. So we got 13 drivers. No one was able to quite get down to that 12-second range. A few weeks ago, we had Aaron Wilson out at Evergreen Speedway, set an all-time new track record on a pretty similar configuration to Lanier at a 12.7. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of lap times we get and how people are able to conserve their tires when it rolls around to the race.
That it is. There's your qualifying up on the screen. Colin Penn taking the top spot here in this qualifying session. So guys, we're going to step away. We're going to honor the 2 countries that are represented here tonight. Please join us, and we will be back to bring you some heat race action.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rackets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Bardol presents the Rory Price Sprint Show, the ultimate NSRA wing sprint car race in the Western United.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as heat race number 1 for the Rory Price Last Chance Qualifier is out on track. And we have the 14 of Colin Penn, the 75 of Wally Beatty on row number 1. Row number 2 will be the 15 of Mike Henry and the 51 of Jason Day. Row 3 will be the 54 of Stephen Maestro and the 16, oh, I'm sorry, that's the 9 of Stephen Chun, and then the 16 of Ellie Musgrave, bringing up the rear end of this field. But here we go, Kyler. Heat race number 1 coming at you.
Yeah, Colin Penn on the inside as the green flag is now flying. We'll see what the 75 of Wally Beatty can do on the outside lane. Wally washes up a little high coming off of turn 2, but is able to stay right there wheel to wheel. As the 14, Colin Penn's able to pull out just enough, but still can't quite clear Wally Beatty coming off of turn number 4.
These two staying side by side, but it looks like the high line starting to prevail. The 75 almost pulled away there, but got a little wiggly off the corner, had to check up some. Now he's going to try it again. The 14 of Colin Penn going to slide into second place. Now he's under attack by the 15 machine of Mike Henry.
Yeah, it's great seeing a nice multi-groove track allowing drivers a couple different options, as here comes the 51 of Jason Day trying to sneak his way up and take the third spot from Michael Henry, but just can't quite get it done yet.
We go on board with the 16 of Ellie Musgrave. She is trying to work around this track here in heat race number 1. She is falling to the tail end here, but we got a lot of racing still ahead of us.
Yeah, back up front, it looks like Colin Penn's starting to get his car warmed up and going to start making a lead on Wally Beatty for that top spot. And right there is the 15, as well as the 51 of Jason Day.
Sitting in a 4th place for the moment is the 51. Ooh, Lex Dixie moment. That is Jason Day. Struggled in qualifying, but here he is running with the front pack here in heat race number 1, but with nowhere to go as he's got 2 cars side by side right in front of him.
Yeah, it looks like the 15 of Michael Henry sticking his nose deep inside is going to be able to make the pass around Colin Penn to take over that second spot. And here comes Jason Day trying to follow his tire tracks right through the third.
Single file now as they are working these laps for this heat race. The 14 of Colin Penn trying to search around, find a line that works for him. Getting past the 15 now becomes more important to him as the laps are starting to wind down.
Yeah, and that was actually the white flag that time by, so here they come to the checkered off of turn number 4 right now. It is going to be Wally Beatty, followed by Michael Henry, Colin Penn in third.
That makes up your top 3 in heat race number 1. They bring it to a stop on the backstretch. These drivers laying it down there. Let's see if we can't get a quick word in with the driver of the 75 machine. Wally, this is KR and Kyler up in the broadcast booth. Got your ears on, buddy?
Yeah, sure do.
Winning heat race number 1 here with a good qualifying session. How's this going to carry over for the feature for you?
Yeah, it was a pretty good run there. Me and Colin are pretty good buddies here. We race a lot together, and wasn't sure I was going to clear him, but I might have pinched him a little bit, but just good hard racing.
Kyler,
Do you think that outside line is going to be the go-to move, or do you think the inside line is going to prevail on that early on restart in the main event?
It's sure going to be tough. If these guys will be a little courteous and race each other hard and clean, the outside line can work at this place. So just got to be smooth, consistent, easy on and off the throttle, keep the car underneath you, and you know, it might come into play here later in the race.
all right, Wally. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us, man. We'll let you get back to it, get settled in for the feature. Good luck to you.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
That's very nice of Wally to give us a little impromptu interview there. So, Kyler, what more can you tell us about the Rory Price Memorial?
So the Rory Price Memorial is a race after a driver who we lost at Evergreen Speedway now 14 years ago. He was a sprint car driver, well loved by everyone that he met, always upbeat, happy guy. I only got to meet him one time, and I was very young when I met him, so I can't really say much on his behalf, but the impact on everyone's lives that he left was just incredible. Sprint car drivers love coming to this race year in and year out. It's becoming an event where when you talk to drivers and they say that they got to compete in the RP, it would meant something to them. And let alone if they got to win the RP, then that really means something to them. And for us to be able to build an event around a person who is able to impact so many people's lives, it's a really a neat thing to see it all come together and to see the sprint car community really rally around it.
Now, about how many cars show up for this event?
I believe last year we were touching the 30 range, and we had a few cars break during practice and heat racing, which started the field down a little bit to the mid-20s for the main event. And when you have that many cars on a 3/8 mile, they're flying around the thing, and it's a newly paved 3/8 mile, so that's why we're seeing track times continuously fall. It's definitely quite a show, and you really feel that one in your chest when all those cars come off turn 4 to get the green flag.
Well, it is going to be very exciting. That event is happening next Saturday. Now, what kind of event format does the RP operate under?
It's just like a normal, any other Granite Super Sprint Series race that we have here at Evergreen Speedway. Just standard qualifying, a couple practices, heat races, and then it's a pill draw invert to find out where you're starting at. And so a few weeks ago, I believe we had a 12-car invert in our sprint series, so we had 19 cars total. Aaron Wilson was set fast time, and he was able to come through the field from 12th in about 4 or 5 laps to start battling for the lead. So if you got a good car and you're able to maneuver traffic and be smart and not use up your stuff, then it plays out for some great racing.
Well, very, very cool. Heat race number 2 starting to line up, and Tyler Reed in the all-white 58 machine gonna roll out in the pole position. On his outside will be the 78 of Mark Broomkamp, and that will make up row number 1. Row number 2 will be the 13 machine of Mike Oakley, and on his outside, I believe that is the 88 of Thomas O'Hare. Behind them, the 52 of Lyle Christensen, and then the 8 of Rob Slider, bringing up the tail end here. 3 rows, 2 by 2. Here we go, heat race number 2.
Reed on the inside, Broomkamp on the outside. We'll see if Broomkamp is able to do what Beatty was able to do in the last race and make that outside lane stick early on. Just got to be patient, easy on the throttle as they are rolling out to the green flag right now.
Green flag drops, and the heat race number 2 underway. The 88 of O'Hare testing the waters early, and now the 58 of Tyler Reed hard into the wall. He's going to lose 2 spots there as the 13 squeezes on by.
Yeah, from third to first in one lap is that 13 of, where's his name at? I can't lost it. Mike Oakley. He was able to roll up through there, take advantage of Tyler Reed's mistake, but now it looks like Reed's able to get the car back under him as he looks underneath Bremkamp for that second spot.
Reed in that all-white 58 machine now slides back into second. One spot recovered after that tag to the wall. Now the 78 machine of Mark Bremkamp trying to get underneath him. Not there just yet. Tyler has a very good line going into the corner and really gives him a good shot off of the corner as we see Bremkamp tag the wall.
Yeah, I was watching Bremkamp in the practice session right before this, and he was definitely the driver who was exploring lines the most. He was going up high, going way down low from lap to lap, trying to see what he could do. But with that, I also saw him wreck 2 or 3 times as well. So maybe didn't quite pay off for him in the long run. See what he learned here and see if he's able to reel Tyler Reed back in here for that second spot.
The 88 at Thomas O'Hare right now sitting in fourth. Right behind him is the 8 of Rob Slider sitting in fifth. Guys, all's kind of running nose to tail, a little bit more spread out than heat race number 1 is. But everyone running good, clean, quick laps here.
Yeah, and that battle for second looks like it's starting to heat up a little bit as Bremkamp is able to reel in Reed just a little bit more each lap. So it looks like Bremkamp is able to settle in, ease up on the throttle a little bit, and now there's a battle for second spot.
We go off the nose of Mark Bremkamp. This thing is strapped right to the front bumper. And you can see, as Tyler Reed, a little wiggle there. That's going to leave a bit of an opening, but Bremkamp not able to take advantage of it. Mike Oakley in the 13 machine, starting to pull away from the rest of the field now as Reed, I guess we got that the caution or checkered?
I believe the checkered flag has come out. So it looks like the 13 of Mike Oakley is your heat race number 2 winner. Bremkamp just ran out of laps and couldn't quite reel in Reed for that second spot.
All right, so your race winner for heat race number 2, that is the 13 machine of Mike Oakley. And we are doing things where we don't necessarily see a lap counter, so it kind of came as a surprise to us, but wasn't a surprise to Mike Oakley. He would jump from third to first in that opening lap.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake out of your leader, which opened the door up for Oakley. And sometimes in racing, you just need that little bit of luck on your side and then some clean air. So that worked out well for Oakley in that race.
Let's see if we can't get a word in with our heat race number 2 winner. That is a 13 machine of Mike Oakley. Mike, how you doing out there tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Well, that 13 machine had a great start. You go from third to first. Tell us what you were seeing out there. You hear us, Mike? Maybe Mike having some issues there. That's all right. We'll try and talk to him a little bit later. The 2 heat races there, Kyler, done and in the books. This last chance qualifier starting to shape up. Looks like it's going to be a good, hard race for some of these guys. And we are starting to see some passing happen, especially when a mistake is made by the driver in front of someone else.
Yeah, these cars are extremely hard to control, and you got to be very easy on the throttle, especially on going from a wing sprint car on dirt to on asphalt. Throttle control and keeping the car underneath you is everything, and all it takes is that one little mistake to slide you up out of the groove, which we saw last race with Tyler Reed. Just that one little mistake coming off the corner, and that opened up the door for Mike Oakley.
All right, so now drivers starting to roll up. Kyler, what are we seeing here? Is this an open practice session?
Looks like we are just going to be lining up the race room for the main, so cars can begin a little bit of track time before we get everyone back lined up for the main event.
All right, so drivers starting to turn some practice laps. Each lap here is going to teach them something, a little bit more about the car, a little bit more about the track. So getting those laps in, very important. So Kyler, tell me a little bit about how the linear track here at iRacing coincides with Evergreen Speedway.
So I was checking in on some onboard footage on iRacing here during the early practice session before we went live, and to me it seems like these corners at Lanier are a little bit longer than Evergreen. It seems like the straightaway is a little bit shorter, corners a little bit longer, just a little bit of a different feel from what I've seen on onboards and from talking to drivers and my short laps I've taken around Evergreen Speedway. So it looks like it just feels like a little bit tighter track, but they are still running about the same lap time, so it's pretty close setup wise.
That's pretty cool that times are very even. We are doing our best that we can here in iRacing, as they do not have Evergreen Speedway. Someone should probably start a petition and say, hey, come get this track.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to see Evergreen, especially introduce some figure eight racing, which is the amount of different setups with Evergreen itself, from our road courses to our 5/8s to our 3/8s to our 1/5 to our figure eight track. I think it'd be a great bonus to throw into iRacing.
Well, I for one would like to see Evergreen Speedway. If I'm ever up north and on a weekend, I'd love to stop by.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those tracks that everyone should come out and visit. Doug and Tracy Hobbs, they do a great job running the entire facility. It's certainly one of the best short tracks, in my opinion, in the nation, and I've been to quite a few now, and it still is just how the show is put together, to the racing action. Everything is just awesome up here.
We are on board the 14 of Colin Penn here in this practice session before we head over to the feature. You can see the 14 has set the fastest time in practice for the moment. He's looking very smooth. He might have something for these guys here tonight if he can carry this over into the feature.
Yeah, it looks like he's running that maybe a little bit middle to lower line, so not quite hugging the yellow as he goes right down and hugs the yellow in that lap. It would be interesting to see how much line variation these drivers are able to play with, and where the passes are going to be able to make. As we saw in that first race, Wally Beatty was able to make the outside lane work right away. So we'll see what happens when the race comes.
That we will. All right, guys, we're going to step away for just a minute. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Bardol presents the Rory Price Sprint Show, the ultimate NSRA wing sprint car race in the Western United States. See drivers from the West Coast and Canada compete for the coveted RP crown. Local sprints include Granite Super Sprint, West Coast Sprint, Washington Midget, Figure 8 Race, and more. It's one of the biggest nights of the year. The annual Rory Price Wing Sprint Show, Saturday, August 3rd. Kids 10 and under, free. Military, always free. Details, evergreenspeedway.com.
Racing. You wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as this practice session is starting to wind down and we get ready for our feature. But we did want to take a little bit longer and give you guys some more information. Coming up next Friday, right here on Turn 3 Racing Network, will be the iRacing version of the Rory Price Memorial, as everyone is excited for that as it ties in for the first time to the RP race with Evergreen Speedway. So, Kyler, can you tell us a little bit about how that came about?
So Richard Orr, who's really the race director right now for this Last Chance race is going on, he came to me with the idea about 4 or 5 months ago, I want to say, maybe even longer than that, and we just kind of got the ball rolling, spit back some ideas, and here it is today, and it's turned into quite a big iRacing event, and it's just as big of an event as itself as a wing sprint car race on the West Coast, even in the nation now, as we have Troy DeCare from Florida. He's flying up for this race for an Evergreen Speedway race. He was here earlier in the year. It's just become a really big event overall on both sides, iRacing and in real life. First of the event I've heard of it being to this level for local short track. So I think it's turned out pretty well, and it's all thanks to Richard Orr, who came up with this brilliant idea.
Now, Kyler, if people wanted to go find a website or more information, where could they go?
Evergreenspeedway.com is obviously a great spot to find all information of everything we got going on at the track, as well as for more race day updates. Our Facebook page is constantly being updated during race events. So next Saturday, anyone that's listening now can come and tune into our Facebook page. They'll be getting some pictures, some videos, all sorts of updates, and then that's where you'll be able to find our highlight video of all the action, because at Evergreen, we don't do any sort of live feed currently. But after the race is over, we have a video put together covering all the action from all the classes that ran that past weekend. So evergreenspeedway.com, and then our family social medias on Facebook at Evergreen Speedway, at Evergreen Speedway on Instagram, as well as Twitter as well.
Well, alrighty, there you go. There you guys go. All the information you need, and make sure you tune in to kick off the RP Memorial right here on Turn 3 Racing Network, as that is next Friday night. And then at Evergreen, if you happen to be in the area, you can watch it on Saturday as well. So guys, we're going to step away once again. We're going to move over to the next session, and we will bring you the feature event here tonight. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are here ready to bring you tonight's feature event for the Rory Price Memorial Last Chance Qualifier. And in the booth with me for this is none other than Kyler Hope, directly from Evergreen Speedway. We've had a chance to talk a little bit, Kyler, about Evergreen. Now it's time to turn our focus here to this Last Chance Qualifier to get into Friday night's race on the iRacing side of things. Tell us a little bit about this feature and what we can expect to see.
So it looks like we got a 45 lap feature coming up. Yellow flag laps will count. A couple cars that I'm going to keep my eye on. 75 of Wally Beatty. He won his heat race earlier today from the outside row. So that's very impressive. He has great car control. Bremkamp, he's shown a lot of speed. If he's able to keep the car under him for 45 laps. Slider, he's been fast all day, as well as Jason Day and Mike Oakley, as well as Michael Henry. So it's a very strong field of cars, and I really do not know who to pick a single one.
It's going to be hard to choose. If you don't mind, can I pick the who I expect to win as they cross the start-finish line for the last time?
Yeah, that's about when I'll have fully made up my mind on who's going to win this race also.
Yeah, you know, racing is a cruel mistress. You can have the fastest car, be having the best night, and then all it takes is someone else having a bad day. Maybe something coming loose on your car. Any number of things, and all your hopes and dreams for that night go up in smoke.
Yeah, and sometimes they literally go up in smoke if you end up losing the motor or get spun out. Not a pretty sight to see, especially when you had a dominant car. You always hate seeing that. And when you're the leader of a race and you're getting those final 10 laps, you hear every sound, every vibration feels different, and you just get very paranoid very quickly.
Several cars now out on track here as they are kind of warming it up, breaking it in, trying to lay down some rubber on this racing surface. These sprint cars are meant for the dirt here in iRacing. iRacing service does not have a winged pavement sprint car. They do, however, have a pavement sprint car and a Silver Crown car that runs on the pavement, but those not being used here tonight. This is the 305, and I think it is making for a very good car track combo. We're seeing a lot of drivers struggle to get this 305 around, and it looks like it's fun to drive to me.
Yeah, they definitely look like a blast in iRacing and on the track of Evergreen Speedway. They have very similar setups, and it looks like a blast, and I would definitely want to hop behind the wheel of one of these.
All right, drivers starting to take to the grid. That means it's time to go through our starting lineup for tonight. Row number 1, the 75 of Wally Beatty on the pole for this main event. On his outside, the 14 of Mike Oakley. Row number 2 gonna be the 15 of Michael Henry and the 52 of Colin Penn. Row number 3 will be Rob Slider and the 51 of Jason Day. Row 4 will be Mark Bremkamp and the 54 of Stephen Mastro. Row 5 will be Thomas O'Hare and the 9 of Stephen Chun. And row 6 will be Lyle Christensen in the 5 and the 65 of Keith Pierce. And that will make up our 12 car field for this 45 lap last chance qualifier.
It looks like Ellie Musgrave is no longer going to be competing. Not sure what's up with that or where she went, but we are just now down to 12 cars for this main event. Jason Day, Mark Bremkamp, starting 6th and 7th, a couple of very fast cars. They could be making their way through the field. 45 laps is a long race. We'll see how well they can conserve their stuff, and they could be 2 of the underdogs starting mid-pack.
Lights are out on the Ford Mustang. That means it is time to go racing here for 45 laps in the Rory Price Memorial Last Chance Qualifier. Wally Beatty in control of the field. He gets on the throttle, and we are underway for the race.
Mike Oakley, a little bit of wheel spin, and now again loose coming in turn number 2. That's going to open the door for Michael Henry to take over that second spot, and looks like a Rob Slider on the inside, or Colin Penn on the inside as well in the third.
Michael Henry in the 15 to the inside. He is going to take over the top spot from Wally. And we have a new leader here tonight as Wally falls to second place, but he is not letting go of it just yet. He is all over that back bumper of the 15.
And a little bit of contact deeper in the field between Colin Penn and Michael Henry. Looks like they got stuff situated now as Colin Penn takes over that third spot.
Side by side, the 78 and the 54, as it looks like the 54 of Steven Mastro trying to come out on top. He is going to squeeze on by, move him up into fifth. Mark Brimkamp in the 78 down to sixth, and then right behind them, the 9 of Steven Chun.
And back up front, Wally Beatty trying to reel in your leader.
Michael Henry in the 15 has been out front now for 5 laps, but the 52 of Colin Penn, he has been solid all night long. Turned some very fast laps in practice. He is in third place, knocking on the door for second. He is starting to look for a way around the 75 of Wally Beatty.
Yeah, your top 3 right now are starting to pull away just a little bit. Be interesting to see how Wally Beatty goes about this. If he's just going to kind of conserve his stuff, watch the line of Michael Henry and see where he's faster, where he's weaker, and how he's going to be able to get around him as the laps start to wind down.
Already on to lap number 10. Our fastest lap so far was on lap 7 of a 13.190 by Steven Maestro. And the last time around, Michael Henry turned a 13.223. So some very quick laps. And qualifying was just over 13 flat. These guys really laying down some fast laps here.
Yes, indeed. It looks like Wally Beatty is saying it's time to go as he is all over the back bumper of Michael Henry. Trying to get away around. He's looking to the inside briefly. It looks like Beatty has the better line coming off the corner, but just can't carry that momentum as these straightaways aren't long enough.
Down to the inside, he is trying to pull along to that left rear. Can't quite get there, but the 15 leaves him room. Colin Penn tried the outside, and now Colin Penn is in the wall sideways as a caution flag is going to fly, and Colin Penn trying to right that machine. Looks like it is not going to happen, and we're going to go to a replay here. And watch this as the 75 tried to get a tire down underneath the 15. Colin Penn in the 52 saw an opening on the outside, had a good run. And it looked like the 75 and the 52 just tried to argue over the same piece of real estate. And unfortunately, Colin Penn came up short in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure Wally knew he was completely there as Wally was focused on trying to get around Henry. And then all of a sudden here, he comes on the outside and just, makes contact and into the wall. Penn goes.
So our first caution of tonight. Drivers slowing their pace down, getting a chance to catch their breath. I'd say grab a drink of water, but these are sprint cars. They don't got no water in there with them.
It looks like Henry will be our race leader with Wally Beatty right there in second. Trying to see who is in third.
Mike Oakley in the 14 machine.
So still plenty of fast cars up there. Looks like Bremkamp sitting in that fifth spot right now. He's still very fast in that bright blue and white blue machine. It'll be interesting to see how this restart's able to help him as your top 3. We're starting to gap the rest of the field. So it's going to bunch everyone back up. We'll get some good racing in.
Lights are still on the Ford Mustang, but those should disappear here in just a few more laps. In fact, there they go. Lights have gone out on the Ford Mustang. It is time to line up and get back after it one more time. Colin Penn not able to make it out on the track yet. We'll see if he can get back out there. But the 15 of Mike Henry in control of this field once again as the pace car peels off. And here we go.
Great jump from Michael Henry to get off that start. He knows Wally Beatty can make that outside line work. It looks like a little bit of contact farther deep in the field.
Rob Slider, little contact, but stay green as he didn't really go around, but good save by the 13.
Looks like Henry's staying up top for now. Wally Beatty all over his back bumper, trying to make something work. Looking to the outside, just staying in his tire tracks for now.
Mike Oakley in third place in the 14 machine. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle, and that might open the door for the 78 of Brimkamp. But Brimkamp can't make anything happen with that opportunity, but he is pulling in a little bit closer. Meanwhile, at a little bit deeper in the field, the 9 of Stephen Chun has been trying to use that outside lane to get around the 65 of Keith Pierce. Just has not worked yet. He's going to tuck in behind him, and we're single file here as these cars really now trying to click off as we are about 20 laps away from the end of this thing.
Yes, 20 laps to go as they cross the finish line right there. And Wally Beatty got a little loose last time off of turn number 4. That allowed Oakley and Brimkamp to close to his back tires. So we'll see what Oakley has for Beatty, as Henry has a little bit of a gap, the biggest gap we've seen for the leader this entire race.
Michael Henry has been out front for 25 laps, running very solid and consistent. Very important to do that here in a sprint car, especially on a difficult handling car like this one. He doesn't really set that car too far wrong. Keeps hitting that inside line with his left front tire. Really able to hit his marks here.
Yeah, that's the biggest key, is just staying calm, hitting your marks, kind of focus on your race and just run your race. And it looks like he's able to do that right now as the battle for third's kind of heating up. Oakley got a little loose off of turn number 2 a few laps ago, which allowed Brimkamp to close in the gap, but Mark just did not have enough for Mike.
Looking through the rest of the field right here, the 65 of Keith Pierce still holding off the 9 of Stephen Chun, but that 9 is all over that back bumper. He is doing everything he can. He has been hitting different lines on entry, different lines on exit, but just cannot find a way around the 65 just yet. And that is a battle for 6th, with Pierce holding on to it for the moment.
And that time by, Oakley dumped way down on the apron. He had almost all 4 tires below that yellow line, trying to get around Beatty. So he's just diving their way in, really exploring lines as he knows it's time to go as we close in on around 11 laps to go.
Michael Henry been out front for the most laps here tonight. Led 32. He is continuing to rack them up. He has got a little bit of breathing room now to the 75. But with 10 laps to go, this could change in a hurry. A caution would wipe that lead out.
And there is contact between your second and third place. Brimkamp gets in the back of Oakley. They go sideways but keep things rolling. And so now it's a nice 6-car battle right there for that 3rd and 4th and 5th spot, which allowed the leaders to kind of jump away.
First and second out to over a 2-second lead as we have a knot of cars here battling for 3rd place. Move Brimkamp into 3rd as he is the first one to emerge from this battle. The 54 of Stephen Mastro now into 4th, but he is under heavy pressure from Keith Pierce. Pierce thought about trying to stick his nose down in there, wisely bailed out at the last minute. That is going to cost him a little bit of momentum as the 14 of Mike Oakley now tags the wall, picked up the front end, but he keeps it going.
All sorts of carnage, and this is exactly what Henry does not want to see up in front of the field. He just wants everyone to kind of get in their own groove, get single file, and run this race out as we have 5 laps remaining for Henry and Beatty up front.
Stephen Chun in the 9 down to the inside of the 51 machine of Jason Day. They are running wheel to wheel here, hard charging for this 7th spot. For the moment, the 9 machine has it. Mike Henry, though, starting to feel some pressure now as he is looking at 4 laps to go. The 75 is really starting to reel him in.
Yeah, Wally Beatty was able to find something in his car, a little bit extra that he might have been saving up, as it is definitely go time. It is just a lap and a half remaining for Michael Henry. But let's see what Beatty has for him as they get the white flag.
15 machine of Mike Henry now with 2 laps to go by my counter. Hopefully we get on the same page there, as it looks like now we are on the white flag. The 15 machine still out front. Mike Henry, final time, light bulbs flashing, and Henry gonna win the last chance qualifier with Wally Beatty in the 75, bringing it home in second. Mark Brimkamp in the 78 machine will round out your top 3 here tonight.
So Wally Beatty just did not have enough left in his car. He kind of saving his stuff early on, had that mid-race restart, but just could not get around Michael Henry. As on that restart, Henry had a great jump, and that ended up being the deciding factor in his race win.
All right, guys, well, we're going to step away for a moment, set up our post-race show. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the last chance qualifier for the Rory Price Memorial has wrapped up, and we have all of our top 5 finishers here, and we're going to start this thing off with our race winner. That is the 15 machine of Michael Henry. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, buddy. How about y'all?
Oh, not too bad. Got to talk about a race. Got to see some great racing action in the Sprint Cars 305s here at Lanier. But man, it's got to feel good to pick up this win here tonight.
Oh, it feels real good. This will be 3 in a row with the all the preliminary races with the Western Super Series. It's gonna be fun. I'm real appreciative of Richard, and Evergreen putting this deal on. Can't wait for next week. I'm really appreciative of Wally not using that bumper up on me, trying to get by me. He's been hungry for a win.
So Michael, how key was that mid-race restart getting a good jump as Wally was able to make the outside lane work in his heat race earlier on? So you knew he was able to be tough out there. So how key was that restart?
Well, anything you run, anywhere you run, the restarts are going to be just pivotal moments. You can look at any kind of motorsports; it's going to be the most hectic time is right after a restart. And I know Wally. I know exactly when he tries to go and tries to anticipate. So racing with him long enough, I kind of goosed him a little bit, but he'll have to forgive me for it.
All right, Mike. Well, before we let you go, any shout outs or thank yous, sponsor mentions that you'd like to do?
Obviously, big thanks to my family that supports me in doing this kind of goofy stuff. Colin Penn and everybody, Colin Penn, Mark Brimkamp, everybody over at MD Designs 305 Series, Richard Orr, and everybody with the Western Series. I mean, just too many people to thank in this short amount of time.
All right, man. And one last thing, I gotta say, love the paint job on your sprint car.
Yeah, buddy, everybody loves it. That's why I run it.
Very cool. Mike Henry winning the last chance qualifier here tonight. Congratulations to the 15 machine. Now it's time to move on to our second place runner. That is the 75 of Mr. Wally Shrek Beatty. How you doing out there tonight, Wally?
All good, man. Had a good run tonight.
That 75 Haviland machine had a great run, come up one position short, but however, you do make it into the main event Friday night here on iRacing. Tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, I didn't get the start I wanted on the initial start. I kind of had the wing too far back and got too tight on entry there and let Michael slip up underneath me. But other than that, I ran pace for pace with Michael. I tried to stay with him as much as I can. Like he said, we raced together a lot. I didn't want to use him up. If I could have got to him on the white flag, I might have given him a little push down the back straightaway, but I kind of overdrove into turn one and spun the tires a little bit. But I can't thank Colin enough and the MD Designs group. I felt bad getting into him earlier in the race. We were racing hard for a second, and I got into him. But man, I'm pretty new to iRacing. I've only been on about 8-9 months, and having a blast running these 305s.
So Wally, if you had another 10 laps, you think you might have had a little bit more for Michael, or you think he was checked out, used up all your stuff?
No, I think if I could have had a few more laps to run him back down there, I think I could have tried to get to his outside, but it'd have been tight. Michael's a really, really good racer and a really clean racer at that. So, you know, this is all for fun, and we all here get along pretty well. It was pretty clean racing. I hope we made the broadcast pretty interesting.
Well, Wally, I enjoyed the heck out of watching you go after it, trying to win. Nice job. I enjoyed the broadcast, and I think if you get a chance to go back and watch it, you'll like it too.
Yeah, sure. I sure will. It's the first thing I'm doing as soon as we log this thing off.
All right, Wally. Well, thank you so much for being patient, giving us time of evening to put on a great show for us and talk to us here tonight.
Hey, thank you guys for doing what you do.
That is our second place finisher, Wally Shrek Beatty, and he's not sure how he got the nickname Shrek, but well, comes home second, so we might have to start working on a new nickname for him. Now it's time to move on to our third place finisher, Mark Brimkamp. Mark, that 78 machine had a heck of a fight there at the end, and you found a way to pull that, well, color changing machine into third.
Yeah, I mean, really, I should not even be in third right now. I got into Mike Oakley there, coming off at 2. Didn't really mean to. I just got a run on him and tried to get on the brakes, just would not slow down. But, you know, I mean, I had a strong car all night, just could not get the power down to grip coming off the corners, and the car was constantly trying to go sideways on me. So, it was a hard-fought race by everybody. You know, it's a blast racing these cars. I raced over with Colin Penn in the MD Design Series, but you know, so these cars are always a handful. You never know what you're gonna have. You know, you gotta just finesse these cars around the track.
So Mark, I saw you in practice exploring the lines quite a bit. You were running way up top and way down low. Were you just kind of getting any more information you could setup wise to carry over into the race? And what did you really learn bouncing around those middle top grooves throughout the race as well?
I was just trying to see if the high line or middle line would give me a better run when I was running with the faster guys in hot laps. If one of those two lines would give me a better run coming off the corner. I couldn't find it. The low line was where it was at for me. Wally was strong on the outside. I mean, that guy, he's strong everywhere he runs. The guy's a hell of a driver.
All right, Mark. Well, before we let you go, can you tell us a little bit about what it means to you to make it into the Rory Price Memorial next Friday night?
It means a lot to me. I mean, I've heard of the race. I've always wanted to actually go to Evergreen, and experience it, each from the stands, whatever. But yeah, I mean, being able to make the race on iRacing there's really no words to speak it. I honestly didn't even have plans on running any of these qualifier races because I wasn't sure I was going to have the time to run the race, but I've found the time, so.
Well, you found the time and you found a way in, so congratulations, man. Job well done, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday night.
Thank you, sir.
Mark Brimkamp bringing it home third place here tonight, making it into the Rory Price Memorial, along with the 54 of Steven Mastro. Steven, how you doing tonight? And that 54 machine looking pretty clean here.
Doing real good. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got to talk about racing. Now I get to talk to drivers who have made it into next Friday night. Tell us a little bit about your race and what you got going on.
Well, it was a fun race. I got the invite from Lyle and kind of came in here on a whim and didn't really know what to expect and figured it out as the night went on and the heat races helped and got a pretty good finish in this race. It was not like I was a fifth place car, but there was a little bit of mayhem going on in those last few laps. I was able to pick up one extra spot, and I'll take it. To be honest, it feels like a win because I did not know what to expect. I run the non-wing sprint cars on asphalt and iRacing usually, and these are just very different compared to those, and it takes a lot of finesse and throttle control with these things to keep them from getting all cattywampus on you.
I have. Oh, sorry, Kyler. Go ahead.
I was going to talk about that mayhem he referenced to, Steven. So it kind of, with about 10 laps to go, everything kind of all broke out. It was a pretty calm race for the most part, single file. And then all of a sudden, everyone's around you. What was kind of going through your mind when you saw all of a sudden you're in the middle of three wide?
I don't even know. It was hold the wheel and pray that I get through everything. I mean, it was crazy. I was just trying to run clean the whole race because it's my first time with you guys, and it's a pretty cool series, cool concept here. I really like the race, and I love me some sprint car racing. I hope you guys enjoyed the race too.
I sure did. Steven, I've gotten a race with you in the pavement sprint car, so I'm a little surprised that you're saying that it takes a lot more throttle control in these 305s.
Yeah, those cars are it's a different level of throttle control. Those ones you ease into it in both cars, but these cars are once they kind of get loose, it's hard to keep it to get it back in the groove because they start to kind of rock back and forth on you, whereas the asphalt sprint car, it's a little bit easier to gather it up, I think.
All right, man. Well, congratulations making it into the show next Friday night. Any shout-outs or thank yous?
Yeah, I want to thank WHM Motorsports, Sheep Pasture, Nursery. These guys have been with me. They're not on the car right now. They will be in the main race, but they've been with me since the start of my racing career, in real life too, and I just couldn't do it without them and my family, of course. So thank you to them, and thank you to you guys for putting it on.
All right, that is the driver of the 54 machine, Steven Maestro. And now it is time to talk to the 65 of Keith Pierce. Brings it home fifth and able to transfer into Friday night. Keith, congratulations. Job well done. Man, oh man, tell us what you were seeing out there.
Well, I can tell you one thing. It was definitely interesting showing up late to the game tonight. Kind of mixed up on the time, and I was hoping I could get a couple hot laps in, which I was able to, and started from the back. And you know, when you see about 11 cars in front of you when you start, you know you're in for a long race. And I just battened down the hatches and bided my time and made clean passes, or at least tried to. And it was actually a lot of fun.
All right, Keith. So, how is it adjusting over to these kind of wing sprint cars? We've talked a little bit about throttle control. What is it like, for your opinion, on the secret to keeping these cars under control?
Oh man, that's a private notebook right there. Actually, these cars aren't too terribly bad. I've been running them for about 3 months now, and running with the MD Designs 305 Sprint Car Series, and then also over here with the Western Super Series. Both awesome, great events, and it's taken a little bit of getting used to, trying to get the throttle just right, and also getting the nose pointed the right direction, and hoping that it doesn't bounce off from you.
Well, Keith, nice job out there tonight. You transfer into Friday night. Hopefully you'll have the times straightened out. You'll be able to join in and get a lot more practice laps in, maybe even a qualifying session, so you don't have a face full of cars when you get out there.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, it was kind of fun coming from the back, but I don't know if I want to do it again. So yeah, I might have to check with the wife and make sure she's got the time down, so that way she can help me remember. Otherwise, you know, I might show up late again. Who knows?
All right, man. Any shout outs, thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to, shout out obviously for the MD Designs 305 Sprint Car Series, for letting me join them and getting in a couple of races with them before, and I actually qualified with them as well. And then also jumping over here to the Western Super Series, I've been running with these guys for about 4 months now. And so Richard Orr, Colin Penn, big shout out to those guys. And then also thanks to the family for letting me being able to do this, and the wife trying to keep the kids from bugging me too much. So anyway.
All right, man. Nice job, and congratulations on making it in to Friday night show next week.
All right, thank you guys, and you guys have a great night.
That is Keith Pierce making it through the last chance qualifier. And now it's time to talk to our final qualifier, driver of the 9 machine, Steven Chun. Steven, congratulations. You're able to make it through to next Friday night. And it seemed like a very eventful race for that 9 machine here tonight.
Oh, it sure was. But luckily we got in there, and we're going to be in the show on Friday.
Well, Steven, what can you tell us about these cars, and what are you able to take away from tonight that you'll be able to apply to next Friday night?
Well, I'm not a huge. I mean, I'm a fan of these cars. I just don't run them all the time, and they're not exactly belong. They don't exactly belong on asphalt. But tonight was a big learning experience. Learning throttle control, learning how to get these cars to turn, because that front wing, it seems like, just makes you want to pull straight or right more than it does left. So you got to be really easy on the throttle and the brake to get it to turn, but then you got to be really easy on the throttle to keep it from turning too much. It's just that it's the balance between too much throttle and not enough to keep these cars turning. So it's definitely gonna, throttle control will play a huge factor going into Friday. That's for sure.
So I'll send out a pretty detailed. So Steven, with that mayhem towards the end of the race, we talked to Steven a little bit, or Brent Camp a little bit about it. What would you kind of see with all of a sudden 10 laps to go? It was just a massive cars all side by side.
Yeah, it sure was. We're going down the back stretch, and all of a sudden, there's a group of cars in front of us, and they went 3 wide, and I saw someone get really sideways, and then here's a slower car comes to my outside, and it's too late in the race. And these 305s, once you get in line behind somebody, it's so hard to keep your momentum going to pass them. So I couldn't lift and let that guy in, so I went 3 wide instead, and I tried to give the 51 room. I guess I didn't give him enough, and I ended up getting really sideways on his nose, but he didn't let me go, so it straightened me back out, and luckily we were able to keep going. And then going off into that next turn, like I said, it's so hard to keep your momentum, so I used him up. I won't lie about that. I used him up. I didn't mean to. I was being over aggressive, and I can't afford to lose a run like that. And so I got into the back of him and got under him, and me and him talked about it after. I think we've come to an understanding that, it wasn't me being just angry at him. It was just trying to race a little too hard, I guess. But I ended up getting around him and finishing 7th, so worked out for me.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. You were able to get through and make it into next Friday night. So, any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
I'd like to thank Fierce Racing, everyone there, and CNS Collision, Cowboy and Speedy Tires, all of them for helping me get into this and helping me, get ready for this race and all. And thank you guys for broadcasting it. I watched after qualifying, after I made my run. Y'all are doing real good up there. So excited for the race on Friday, and I'm glad we made it in.
That is the 84 piloted by Stephen Chun, making it into next Friday night. And now it's time to talk to our final transfer driver here from tonight's event into next Friday night. Jason Day in the 51 machine, getting it done here tonight. Jason, congratulations. What can you tell us about tonight's race and what you expect for next Friday?
First of all, thank you. I've struggled all week trying to figure out how to drive this car around the track, and it was pretty quick in practice, not so good in qualifying, and I hung it out in the race. I was not quite where I want to be for passing cars yet, but I feel pretty confident.
So Jason, you're a regular up at Western Speedway, from my understanding. How much is it getting good track time in a real car and then transfer that over to your iRacing experience? Is that kind of related all from throttle control to handling the car to picking the right line?
Oh yeah, for sure. Except for these are completely different than what I drive. They handle differently. I run mini stock or Outlaws, and so it's quite a bit different than a wing sprint. But yeah, it's definitely relatable. Throttle control, for sure.
Well, Jason, while you have a chance, would you like to give any shout outs or thank yous?
Well, I don't really have any sponsors for this race, but I'd like to thank Richard for putting it on. You guys at Evergreen for doing all this great stuff, and thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, so see you next week, and hopefully maybe I have a chance for top 3 or something.
That is Jason Day, driver of the 51 machine, last qualifier to make it in, but he has made it into Friday night. Gonna breathe a sigh of relief, and he is already looking forward to a podium for next Friday night. Kyler, that is going to be an achievement in itself, as this field is looking like it is going to be stacked come Friday night.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be a show that you're going to want to miss. Great field of cars just out of this race alone, out of the last chance qualifier, not to mention all the great drivers that have already been entered in. It's shaping up to be definitely a big race, a marquee race on iRacing.
All right, guys, nothing left now but to go through our results here tonight. Michael Henry winning it. Wally Beatty finishing in second. Mark Brimkamp third. Fourth going to Stephen Maestro. Fifth, Keith Pierce. Mike Oakley ended up sixth. Stephen Chun seventh. Eighth, Jason Day. All those guys making it in to next Friday night. Thomas O'Hare, one spot short, finishing ninth. Lyle Christensen 10th. 11th going to Rob Slider. Colin Penn 12th. And then Richard Orr, big shout out and thank you to him for putting on this event here tonight and next Friday night. So, Kyler, before we go, One more time, where can people find information about the Rory Price Memorial?
The best place to go would be our website, evergreenspeedway.com. It's that simple. Across all of our social media, you'll be able to find updates on August 3rd, the day of the event next Saturday. I'll be doing a live one personally myself through Facebook, as well as Instagram at Evergreen Speedway, our Twitter at EVG Speedway. Our family social media will be updated with photos, videos, driver interviews, all that good stuff. It's definitely a big event that you're going to want to stay up to date on.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Kyler, for joining me. I look forward to next week as we kick off the Rory Price Memorial. That is happening right here on Turn 3 Racing Network next Friday. That will be around 9 p.m. Central. We'll go live a little bit before 9 p.m. Central. And, well, we hope to see y'all there. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and have a good night.
Bardol presents the Rory Price Sprint Show, the ultimate NSRA wing sprint car race in the Western United States. See drivers from the West Coast and Canada compete for the coveted RP crown. Local sprints include Granite Super Sprint, West Coast Sprint, Washington Midget, Figure 8 Race, and more. It's one of the biggest nights of the year. The annual Rory Price Wing Sprint Show, Saturday, August 3rd. Kids 10 and under, free. Military, always free. Details, evergreenspeedway.com.